Welcome to LexLocal. I'm your host, Rick Dorrington. First up today, we want to report on the proposed expansion at Hanscom Airfield. Walden Pond, Minuteman National Park, and other landmarks in the Lexington area are among America's most endangered historic places, due to plans to expand the Hanscom Airfield. That's according to the National Trust for Historic Preservation. In late April, climate activists were arrested at Hanscom for protesting against the proposed expansion that would add 17 new hangars for private jets. The protest was organized by the Boston chapter of a group called Extinction Rebellion. I met up with 3 of the members of the group to talk about their organization, the Hanscom expansion, and climate change as a whole.
We are a delegation of climate activists and members of the local community. We are here to engage in peaceful, non-violent protest that does no harm to people or to property. We represent thousands of Massachusetts residents who have declared their opposition to the proposed expansion of private jet facilities here at Hanscom.
Extinction Rebellion is a movement founded on the fundamental idea that our governments and the corporations of the world have ground to a halt in inaction, and the only way to get them to move forward towards actual climate progress is civil disobedience. We use nonviolent, non-destructive civil disobedience to inspire our governments and related corporations and related entities to do the right thing and to take immediate, measurable action on the climate crisis.
I will drag everyone off.
A private jet takes 5 to 15 times the emissions of ordinary flying. Right in the middle of a climate crisis, the state of Massachusetts has goals for reducing its emissions in almost every area of its work, but not aviation. It's because of the pressure of the plutocrats and the ultra-rich trying to increase their expenditure at the expense of our children and grandchildren.
Private jet travel is the most carbon-intense form of travel per mile. So if you're taking your own flight with just you and your pilot, the emissions per person per mile is way higher than if you and that pilot were to be on a commercial airline that fits 200 passengers. So it's the most carbon-intense way that we travel.
So the problem with this expansion is that it will increase jet flights overall from this airport, and it will increase emissions coming from private jets, specifically in Massachusetts, at a time when Massachusetts has actually written into law that we will be net zero by 2050 and halfway there by 2030.
The main demands of this action are to stop the Hanscom Airfield expansion. It should not happen. It will increase emissions from that airfield 300% and will effectively cancel out 70% of all solar power in the state of Massachusetts. It is a climate disaster.
It's very inspiring to be around a group of people who are willing to take this kind of action. It is an antidote to despair to be around people like that. And there's absolutely a camaraderie. It's your band of people who are all so inspiring to take that action in their daily lives and incur the consequences of it and know that they're doing the right thing. There's endless hope when I'm around other activists for those reasons, because they become your friends and they become your colleagues in climate action.
Once I knew that I had done what I was intending to do, and now I was in custody of the police, all of my apprehension melted away. And it was replaced with the joy of seeing more and more of my fellow arrested protesters join me at that bench. We were sitting right in front of Signature Jet Operator, which is one of the developers of the proposed hangars. The gentler police response generally in Massachusetts compared to other places in the states and the world, it is relatively easy to do civil disobedience here, especially if you are privileged. And I feel like I am very privileged in terms of my skin color, in terms of my economic background, And I can afford to take a stand like this. Doing this kind of civil disobedience would have different repercussions for different people. But because I know that the consequences for me are manageable, I've given up, a day of my time that Saturday, and I'll give up a little bit more of my time as I move through the court process. Maybe I'll do some community service, for example. And that's something that I am more than willing to do in order to stand up for this existentially important cause.
Nobody in Massachusetts should have to worry about whether it is safe to breathe the air in their neighborhood. I think nobody in the state of Massachusetts should need to be afraid if there will be clean drinking water. I think nobody in the state of Massachusetts should need to be afraid about the soil quality of where they live. All of these things are in jeopardy from expansions of private airfield, and particularly the Hanscom Airfield expansion. There was a meeting held by MEPA on March 3rd that a few of us in Extinction Rebellion Boston attended, where a constituent came forward and asked what the environmental review process had done to measure the plastic microparticles that were going to be released into the environment, that were going to be released into the soil, the water, the air, from the construction process alone, not even accounting for the actual operations of the airfield once construction is complete. And they responded, the developers responded that they were not required to measure that, and so they did not measure it. That is just one example of the kind of shortcuts that are allowed to happen by our legal process, by our environmental review process in the state of Massachusetts, that put residents at risk. My hope is people don't have to lie awake at night and wonder what else did they not measure.
Now, proponents of the expansion say the development will reduce passengerless flights between local airports, known as ferry flights, and curtail air traffic at Logan Airport. The Hanscom Draft Environmental Impact Report has been released, and public comment is open until June 14th. You can file your comments on the Energy and Environmental Affairs public comment portal. It's flashing at the bottom of the screen now. Or Stop the Private Jet Expansion has created a toolkit for comments at spje.org/DEIR tools. As the conflict in Gaza rages on, groups, many of them on college campuses all across the country, have protested for peace and an immediate ceasefire. One group here in town, Lexington for Palestine, has been holding their own Honk For Palestine demonstration since March to raise awareness. Our reporter, Jake Klinzing, brings you their story.
I think that students' protest all around the colleges is really important. What the universities are doing right now and their response to the students' protest on campuses is unbelievable. It violates to what university stands for, especially when they include the police from the cities to come inside the campuses. And we know that with these type of protests, when the police is present, violence will break. To be oppressed first from the university that they're hosting them, that is just unheard of. I want to assure my kids that here in Lexington it is a safe place for you to protest. It is a right that you have to protest and you have a voice and your voice will be heard.
Hi, I'm Katie. I'm with Lexington for Palestine. My daughter thought of this idea. She's one of 4 children. We have 4 kids, and they're actually Palestinian American. And so this has been on their mind, and I've been organizing our community around this topic. And our oldest daughter, attended our last kind of informal group check-in and proposed this idea as Lexington's first public standout. I am not a policy expert, and I'm so grateful that I'm not the person that has to figure out the solution, but I think a first step has to be an immediate, permanent ceasefire. And I think we have to go from there. We have to stop the carnage and then negotiate. So thanks to all of the attendees and honks.
Hi, my name is Amber Iqbal. We're here to create awareness of what's going on, of how our government is complicit in this genocide. The amount of honks that we have gotten throughout this whole hour, it's amazing how many people are actually standing in solidarity with what we all want. We all want peace at the end of this.
A lot of children, women, and innocent people, they're getting bombed. and like it just feels really wrong to like just let this happen. I am kind of disappointed. These little children are being killed and harassed. All the hospitals are being destroyed and bombed. And if you are watching this, just at least please donate.
Polls have shown for quite some time, really since at least November, that the vast majority, really a supermajority of Americans want a ceasefire now and a diplomatic solution. And just knowing so many people who have family in Palestine now who are losing dozens of their relatives, it's just unthinkable that this continues. And it's so gratifying to see now that even Lexington is here standing up. Makes me proud to be a Lexingtonian.
There are a couple people, not just here, but other days, who would stop and make a comment about, why don't you free the hostages? It just really shows a level of ignorance. This is not an anti-Israel protest. We're not against freeing the hostages. Obviously, we want the hostages to be freed. We want everyone to be free, and that is the point. And despite any conflict or war, this is unacceptable. Whole nation of people should not be broken up and starving.
Well, we're here in the rain. We were here last week in the shine, and next week we'll be here rain or shine. So please come join us or drive past and honk for peace in Gaza.
My name is Amal Bashar. I'm a Lexington resident, and I have been for around 12 years or so. This is a crime that the world needs to stop, and in particular Americans need to stop, because we are behind it by the weapons we're paying for and sending, the political support that this country is providing. So it's really the least that I can do to stand out here in the rain. For me, it's an extraordinarily painful irony that this so-called Ramadan ceasefire comes 2 weeks into Ramadan, of course is not effective. The United States has been vetoing ceasefire resolutions. I'm grateful or glad that the United States abstained this time around. We need the United States to do a lot more to stand for ceasefire, a lasting, permanent ceasefire, because this is a war that unfortunately is not only going to shape and take the lives of thousands of children today, but it's going to shape the lives of all these children for a generation.
We'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us. The High School Building Committee held its 4th public forum. The architectural firm presented options for construction. There are 18 alternatives that fall into 4 categories, ranging in price from approximately $300 million to $670 million, plus additional costs for field house, pool, and central offices.
The first category, and there's only one option here, is for the code upgrade option. This is a required option that we need to look at from the MSBA process, and it really sets a benchmark. And really what we're doing here is not making any addition to the building. Really what we're doing is just fixing the building. You can think about it like that. So the next grouping of options that we're going to look at are new construction options on the existing fields. You see the star located off to the left-hand side. Everyone knows where the fields are. The thought here is that we actually minimize the disturbance to the existing school by building on a site that is adjacent to it. It will provide the best experience in terms of teaching and learning in the existing building throughout the course of construction. Of course, it comes at a cost in terms of the use of those fields. We then have a set of options that are also new construction, so brand new building, but we're actually going to be building on top of the existing high school footprint, which is a tricky thing to do because we know that teachers and students need to be in the building at the same time. So really the trick here is to do this in a safe, organized manner. It will attenuate the duration of construction that we have because we have to do it in phases. We have to build some new construction. We have to move people into that new construction, and then we can tear down a piece and we can build another piece, and eventually we get a new building at the end of it. But here again, there's a compromise that it comes at the impact on education. It will be very disruptive to be in that building while we're building right next door to it. It can be done, though, and it can be done safely. And then lastly, we're going to be looking at some options that are addition renovations also in place. So very similar to the new construction on the site of the existing high school. Here we'll actually be salvaging pieces of the existing building and we'll be incorporating them into the new building. So there will be new addition, and there'll be renovation as well. So the main benefit here versus the new construction, if we're thinking about embodied carbon, if we're also thinking about just the cultural importance of pieces of that existing building, we have the ability to maintain those and figure out a way of building around them, incorporating them into the new building as we go forward.
Community members brought up many concerns, including what will happen to the athletic fields during construction.
So I want to talk about what was going to happen during the construction. The committee has heard many opinions about the field house, which I think makes sense because athletic experience is often one of the defining moments of anyone's time at high school. During the construction of Hastings, they chose the model where the new facility was constructed on the fields of the old facility, and certainly the most disruptive part of that was loss of access to the fields during construction. Thank you for presenting us 18 options today. It seems like most of those options also include construction on the existing athletic facilities. So I was surprised not to hear any discussion on what would be the temporary fields available to the students during construction. So I have two requests of the committee. First, please prioritize temporary fields that would be available to students during construction. And second, please prepare some plans for what might be available to the students and present those to the community in a way that would allow the community to provide comment. Thanks.
The School Building Committee will select 3 alternatives on May 13th. The full meeting is available on our YouTube page, LexMedia TV. We have some highlights from the Lexington Town Meeting that wrapped at the end of April. It voted to prohibit the sale of single-use plastic water bottles. A citizen's petition to ban the sale passed after lengthy discussion.
This article will ban the sale of single-serve PET plastic water bottles from all establishments in the town. The idea aligns with the town's sustainability goals and our vision for long-term Lexington. However, there are a few concerns about the impact of the article. There are not currently enough hydration stations throughout town to ensure access for all visitors or residents who may require drinking water. The proposed ban applies only to non-sparkling water in single-serve containers, allowing purchase of alternative beverages also sold in single-serve plastic containers. Additionally, the ban applies to all retail establishments and raises concerns around affordability of an essential product for our residents and visitors, not all of whom are able to travel with their own water or water bottles. Finally, concerns were raised regarding the impact on individual small businesses as well as enforcement, and the ban, if proposed, would take effect on January 1st of 2025. The Select Board, by a vote of 2 to 3, is opposed to this article.
Girl Scout Troop 67303, a group of 5th graders from Lexington, would like to voice our support for Article 31, which prohibits the sale of single-serve plastic water bottles. Single-use plastic is bad for the environment. Plastic production emits greenhouse gases, which contribute to climate change. We produce about 400 million tons of plastic waste every year on this planet, and yet so little of that is recycled.
Let me say at the outset that the Chamber of Commerce is not seeking to derail the effort to regulate single-use plastic water bottles. We are hoping town meeting will do this. What we're hoping the town meeting will do this evening is to send it back to the Select Board so we can begin the real discussion on the most effective path forward to reaching the desired goal. And that discussion needs to include people from the business community, people with disabilities, the important resources available to us through Lexington's Sustainability Officer, our Director of Recycling at the Public Works.
The ban will take effect on January 1st, 2025. Businesses have 8 months to comply. The meeting also dealt with proposed changes to the town noise bylaws that would delay the laws that prohibit gas-powered leaf blowers.
I'll try and be brief. These machines are terrible. For those of us who were in the town meeting when we debated this issue, we learned that they routinely violate our noise bylaws. It's just that there's no way to enforce those bylaws, so they aren't stopped. The health effects were very well spelled out and are extremely harmful. These are unlike other fossil fuel machines. They don't have catalytic converters. The emissions are far more harmful. And the ones who suffer most are the workers, not us. So yes, we should have sympathy for small business owners of all types. I support them, but we should think about the workers too. We are at an inflection point where the economy is moving towards this kind of technology. So we had a generous transition time built into this law when we passed it. I've heard nothing that suggests the situation is going to be dramatically different a year from now.
So I'd like my fellow town meeting members to allow for the understanding that for some businesses, this is a very easy ask. For other businesses, this is a real imposition. And we have had small businesses in this town who have struggled in the last few years and are starting to get on their feet, and we're asking them to outlay a significant amount of money. And for some, that may be easy, and for some, they need to plan a little bit longer. And so I'm supporting the delay, not because I'm asking to thwart the will of town meeting or the will of the citizens who made it clear that they were in support of this happening, but to allow for those who can't do it in a period of time to have the opportunity to do it.
Another article that was passed by the town meeting is Article 33. It allows the Select Board to seek affordable housing on town-owned land. It passed enthusiastically.
My name is Bob Burbage. I live at 29 Fairbanks Road in Precinct 9. I'm also chair of LexHab and a lifelong resident of Lexington. Article 33 offers substantial hope to begin to address the affordable housing crisis. By allowing the Select Board to designate a parcel of land for affordable housing, we can take a proactive step toward increasing the availability of housing options for those in need. This will not only provide much-needed relief for struggling families, but also strengthen our community as a whole. By passing Article 33, we are investing in the future of Lexington. Affordable housing is essential for attracting and retaining a diverse workforce, supporting local businesses, and fostering economic growth. It is an investment in our shared prosperity and well-being. But perhaps most importantly, Article 33 is a statement of our values as a community. It is a declaration that we believe in justice, equality, and compassion. It's a commitment to ensuring that everyone has a fair chance to thrive regardless of their circumstances. Families who live in affordable housing are just like us, with the exception that their income makes them victims of the housing crisis that now exists. When we bought our first home in Lexington in 1975, we did so because we could. Back then, virtually anyone could buy a home here. Clearly, that is not the case today. I ask you to join me in support of the Affordable Housing Trust on this article. Their board is one that is highly focused, hardworking, and fully dedicated to addressing the housing crisis. Their deep-down analysis of this property and the opportunities it represents is exemplary. No project is perfect, but this one is indeed very good. And for those of you who harbor concerns, I only ask that you do not let perfect be the enemy of the good. Thank you for your support.
In this matter, 171 having voted in the affirmative, 5 in the negative, and 5 abstaining. The motion carries, and by more than the necessary 2/3. Folks, sorry, we don't allow clapping or booing. So thanks, everybody.
The countdown is on for the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, the birth of the nation. The Lexington 250th Anniversary Committee has been working behind the scenes to make the day special for the whole community. They plan to invite dignitaries, including the President of the United States and possibly members of the British royal family. LexMedia was there for the official kickoff.
On behalf of the Lexington Select Board, Town Manager Jim Malloy, Deputy Town Manager Kelly Axtell, and my colleagues on the Lex 250 Commission, welcome to the official kickoff of the Lex 250 celebrations. For the last 2 years, Lex 250 has been working to plan events in collaboration with the community to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the Battle of Lexington. It begins today with our countdown calendar, and it goes up through our nation's 250th birthday in July of 2026.
I am so thrilled to be with you all this afternoon to celebrate what is a very special part of our history and our Commonwealth and our country, but frankly to be right here in Lexington. Before we had the first public library or the first chocolate chip cookie or the first basketball game, we had the American Revolution. We know the Battle of Lexington as the first major battle of the American Revolution. It's the event that kick-started the next 3 years that got us one step closer to declaring our independence. It literally was the shot heard round the world.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor, for your support of the 250th events being planned across the Commonwealth, especially here in Lexington and along our Battle Road corridor.
This is worthy of a huzzah. This is worthy of a huzzah!
On Sunday night, for the purposes of what I was told was historical accuracy, I took a can of shaving foam and a razor, and with some trepidation set about shaving off my beard of more than 15 years. I rose early the next morning, retraced the route from Boston to Lexington that my countrymen made 249 years previously, and red coat on my back and sword at my side, marched down this road with His Majesty's 10th Regiment of Foot. And confronted, as we do every year, the determined and slightly frightened band of Minutemen arrayed on Battle Green. Because the most extraordinary thing about the reenactment that I took part in on Monday morning was that I was there at all. 249 years ago, the idea that in 2024, His Majesty's official representative in Boston would be taking part in such an event would have seemed like wild fantasy. I'm not really sure I should be wearing this. There we go. It's too small anyway.
With great emotion that I join you today on this very special occasion. It takes us back to this crucial moment in the history of your country, I would say of our countries, the birth of American Revolution. As French citizens, we are familiar with the concept of revolutions. We did several. But the American Revolution predates even Bastille Day, which took place in 1784. It marked the beginning of your fight for freedom and the start of the enduring political relationship between France and the United States. This makes France the oldest ally of the United States.
Now, today's speakers, me included, were invited to talk about what the Battle of Lexington means for us personally. For me, the town's fortunes on April 19th are a reminder that progress does not travel in a straight line. We, each of us individually, but the country too, are sure to go through rough patches. We'll be confronted at times by superior forces. We're going to feel unsure. We're going to make mistakes. And then we too will regroup.
We remember Lexington and April 19th as the opening shots of America's war for independence. We remember Robert Monroe, Jonas Parker, and the 6 other men who fell here as victims, while whose sacrifice unified the cause of freedom and gave firmness and resolution to a nation becoming. We read the words on the nation's first war memorial on Lexington Green and remember that Lexington nobly dared to be free on that April morning.
We're looking forward to an exciting year. LexMedia will plan to cover the celebration all year long. Next up for our Lexington Chamber Spotlight Series is William Raveis Sales Manager Justine Wertanen. She sits down with Martha Savini to talk about the spring housing market and the potential future for Lexington real estate.
Lexington has recently had several zoning changes. The gross floor area has been reduced effective January 1st, 2024. We also have the new MBTA zoning and village overlay districts. Could you speak a little bit to that and what you think it means for the future of Lexington real estate?
Sure.
without a crystal ball, I think the MBTA zoning, my personal opinion is it's a little exciting. I think that there's going to be some new development, some cluster housing, cluster developments, which will bring in some condo developments, some low income housing, and just some opportunity for more housing in Lexington. So I think that's exciting. And then the GFA, I think that will be interesting to see how it plays out. The low inventory will always drive prices. It's definitely made it more expensive for builders to build new construction homes. So, not only are construction costs high, we've also had some changes with the sustainability and those zoning, and that has made our town a leader in the state, possibly the nation, which is fantastic, but drives prices. And so there is a trade-off always, and I don't know how that's going to work out, but I'm actually excited to see.
Yeah, it remains to be seen if house prices are going to change or if price per square foot is just going to go up based on these increased costs.
Now, if you'd like to watch that whole interview, and I recommend you do, go check it out on our YouTube channel, LexMedia TV. We'll be right back after this short break. Thank you. Lexington Recreation Department has completed some serious renovations to the Center Recreation Complex, including new bathrooms and updates to the Gallagher tennis courts. Melissa Petit, Director at Lexington Recreation and Community Programs, showed us around.
Welcome to the Center Recreation Complex in Lexington. We are currently on the Gallagher tennis courts, and we would like to share a little bit about the construction projects that took place in 2023 and to describe some of the work that has been completed. The tennis courts here are a bank of 10 tennis courts, and they were originally asphalt. They were in the Recreation Committee's 5-year plan for an end-of-life replacement. The full reconstruction included a 10-month project where the courts were completely rebuilt, and instead of replacing with asphalt, they were replaced with post-tension concrete, which will provide a much longer life for the tennis courts. All of the fencing, the nets, the posts, and the backboards were all replaced as part of this project. So we also completely renovated the practice area. We now have 2 concrete practice boards, which will drastically reduce the sound. And in addition to that, we've installed a brand new shelter area to serve the park, as well as we've put up acoustic fencing to reduce some of the noise. Another project that took place during 2023 was the full renovation of the outdoor restroom facilities here at Center Recreation. So instead of having individual boys and girls restrooms, we now have 6 individual restrooms, 2 of which are ADA compliant. Here we are on the Farias basketball courts. They are completely reconstructed, similar to the tennis courts and the practice boards. The 7 basketball hoops were replaced with glass backboards, and they are all adjustable for all heights and abilities. In addition to the reconstructed courts and the new basketball hoops, we have brand new player benches and a brand new shelter that was added to the facility. So we're really excited to reopen these 3 amenities that were offline for the 2023 season, and we'd like to thank the community for their patience.
We are definitely excited to use those new tennis courts. One person dies every 39 minutes from a drunk driving accident. The Mass State Police and the town of Lexington joined forces at Minuteman High School to stage a mock car crash to warn young drivers about the dangers of driving under the influence of drugs and alcohol.
Hey, are you almost here?
Yeah, I'm here right now. Oh, what's up, Sarah?
Hi.
Hi. Oh, we got alcohol?
Yeah. How's it gonna be amazing this year, Abby? It's gonna be so many people, our friends are gonna be there.
Right?
It's gonna be great to see them all.
I
Yeah.
agree. We have to go.
What?
We have to go.
Hi, is this the police?
Yes, ma'am, this is the police.
Hi,
Hi, I want to report there's a car crash. There's a two-car crash at Minuteman Tech.
Two-vehicle crash at Minuteman Tech. Is anyone injured that you can see?
Yeah, oh my God, everyone's hurt. There's blood everywhere.
Do you know how many people were involved?
Oh, 5 or 6 maybe.
5 to
7, 8. I don't even know. I'm so scared. There's blood everywhere. We think one person might be dead already.
All right, sir. Well, I have police and an EMT on the way already.
Okay, can you send them quick?
Yep, they're coming as quick as they can, sir.
This is really bad, okay? We really need them to come quick, okay? This is really bad.
All right, sir. I'm going to transfer you to EMD so you can answer some questions. They can give you some instructions before the medics get there.
Please don't leave me, sir. Don't leave me.
Okay, sir. You'll stay on the line. I'm giving you to someone that can help you.
I don't want you to transfer the call. I want you to keep me on the line.
I'll be right on the line the whole time, sir.
Everyone's hurt. Everyone's hurt.
All right, sir. So I'm going to transfer you to EMD, and we're going to help you give some medical instructions to the victims there.
That PSA was produced by Minuteman students just in time for prom season. Stay safe out there, folks. Snickerdoodle and Biscotti. No, I'm not just hungry. That's the name of 2 turtles being raised by 2 Minuteman High School juniors. Caitlin Terrell and Jane Pokris are competing in a community action competition presented by Skills USA. They are raising their own northern red-bellied cooters and releasing them back into the wild. They even grow the turtles' food. Take a look.
So my name's Caitlin Terrell. I'm a junior in environmental science at Minuteman High School. This year, Jane and I will be competing in the community action competition at Skills USA, presenting on our shop's participation in the Head Start program run by Mass Fish and Wildlife. Since we've been a part of this program since 2005, we've come up with a pretty solid system to raise them properly. They're kept in a warmer environment to 8 to 9 months, prohibiting them from going into hibernation, which prevents them from growing as much as they could. So they're given unlimited food, which fuels their growth, and they basically just swim around in the tank from late September to late May, when they're then brought back to Mass Fish and Wildlife and released into the wild.
Hi, my name is Jane. I'm a junior in environmental science at Minuteman High School. The first week of shop every year we come in, and one of the first things we do is set up our turtle tank to get ready to get our newborn turtles. And we will also start growing our lettuce for them.
In here is our greenhouse. Each day students come out here and we do, just like we do maintenance for the turtles, we do maintenance for the lettuce.
So this is one of our hydroponic tables. On this table, we are growing tomatoes and lettuce at the moment. I don't think we're growing anything else. But hydroponics is just a more sustainable form of farming that we explore in our shop because we're all about sustainability here. So in these gutters, there's water and we put nutrients in that water. So this is some of our lettuce. This is a head that we would absolutely harvest and feed to our turtles. And it's really cool that we get the opportunity to see the full circle of both growing food for our turtles, feeding it to them, and then raising them as well.
This is Snickerdoodle, and then this guy's Biscotti. My favorite's Biscotti because he's tiny but mighty.
I personally don't have a favorite turtle, and I love them all equally. So day-to-day care varies throughout the year as they get bigger. Right now, they're almost as big as they'll be for us to deal with them. But at the beginning of the year, they're a lot smaller, so we will clean their tank every 3 days, and we feed them like every other day. By now, we are doing it every day. So in the wild, northern red-bellied cooters are usually herbivores, but will eat tiny insects if it comes to it.
When we receive them from Mass Fish and Wildlife in late September, they're about the size of a quarter, so they're honestly that big. And over the course of the year, they grow easily 5 times that size. And when we send them back to Mass Fish and Wildlife, they're about the size of a 3-year-old in the wild.
The Head Start program began in 1984, and when they started this program, there were only 300 northern red-bellied cooters in the wild. And since then, they've released over 4,000. I think it's closer to 5,000 now. And it has been almost 40 years since the program began. But it's just really inspirational to know that they were able to do this and that endangered species are, it is possible to restore their populations.
Best of luck to Jane and Caitlin, and Snickerdoodle and Biscotti. Diamond students had their own science competition last week in the form of a National Science Bowl. The students came in 9th place out of 48 total schools. We checked out how they prepared for the competition.
20.
To prepare for the Science Bowl regional competition, we had weekly practices on Wednesday at school where we practiced with the other Diamond teams in a mock Science Bowl round. Here we could practice our teamwork and communication skills. Additionally, afterwards, after each practice, we wrote our own questions in each of our own topics to better understand question format and topic distribution. We also each read our own textbooks and watched lectures to help better learn each of our subjects.
I am Whitney Factor. I'm the coach of this year's Science Bowl team at William Diamond Middle School. This is my 6th year coaching here, the 7th year having Science Bowl at William Diamond. I took it over and really excited to continue practicing with the team. A little bit of how it works is in late September, students will come for a tryout. There's a series of 3 tryouts. The top 24 are selected from that tryout. They then come and we form mini teams of 5 from there, about 5, sometimes 4. And they compete against each other. And then the top 15 students from the practice rounds get asked to join us for the competition at MIT to compete for the regional national championship.
When we won Science Bowl Regionals, we were very relieved because during the competition, Clark had 2 lives left, so if they beat us one time, we would lose regionals, and we had to beat them 2 times in a row, but we won both rounds. We also felt very accomplished because all our hard work paid off, and this was the first time we've ever beat Clark in Regional Science Bowl.
The day of the competition, I think what led us to victory was drinking orange juice and taking walks outside. And I think that we did good at the competition, but we made some silly mistakes.
So last year, the team had a really big fight against Clark at the end where we lost and Clark advanced to the Nationals in DC. 3 of our students, Rajarshi, Ethan, and Kevin, were on that team. So at the end of that loss, I was able to promote them onto this year's A team for a chance of redemption, which they fought really hard, practiced really hard to get to the spot that they were. And we are really excited to go to DC and represent William Diamond.
Each round has 25 questions, and each question consists of a toss-up and a bonus question. Whichever team gets the toss-up correctly will get to answer the bonus question. If they get the toss-up correct, they'll get 4 points. If they get the bonus correct, they'll get 10 points. And each game consists of 2 8-minute halves. Toss-up is an individual round, whereas the bonus question, the team can work together. The national competition has 42 teams, and all of the teams compete in round robin, where each team plays all the other teams in their division. The top teams advance to double elimination, and then the top 2 teams from double elimination will play in a championship round.
FYI, Lexington High School came in 1st place in their own Science Bowl competition. So congratulations to those students. SNAP, the Special Needs Art Program, has a new art exhibit in the Cambridge Trust Bank in Lexington Center. It's called Sunglasses at Night. It features self-portraits of the students who participate in the SNAP program.
Many years ago, I came to Cambridge Trust to see if they would be interested in hanging an exhibit of our special artists' artwork. And I remember I met with the branch manager. She was very kind. She took one look at the artwork and she said, I knew when you were walking in I was going to hang the artwork regardless, but I have to tell you that your artists are so talented and we would be so honored to have this artwork hanging up in the bank. Right now we have an exhibit up called Sunglasses at Night. It is a self-portrait exhibit. And also another thing that Cambridge Trust does for us is they help us sell our note cards. This is a fundraising initiative that SNAP does, and this is original artwork that the special artists in our classes produce, and then we are able to put it into a note card form. And this spring we have 5 different botanical prints. So each box contains 5 original works of art, and they're for sale here for $15, and all proceeds benefit SNAP.
Well, there's many ways that they can get involved with SNAP, both by coming to concerts, coming to Cambridge Trust, and looking at the art that's here and seeing who the artists are, people in their community that they may now see and go, oh, that's an artist.
I have been to almost every single concert that SNAP has done since the 1980s, and it is really inspirational to sit in the audience and sing along with the singers and see how much happiness and joy, great music comes out of the collaboration with them in the concerts.
SNAP has a concert coming up. The theme is Under the Sea, and it's going to feature a performance by our sing-along chorus, along with our special musical guests, a Lexington a cappella group called Vocamotion, and it's going to be Sunday, May 19th, 3 p.m. at First Baptist Church. And we are really excited, and we really encourage everybody to come check it out.
Again, be sure to check out that SNAP concert Sunday, May 19th at the First Baptist Church at 3 p.m. Lastly, as we look ahead to the Lexington 250th anniversary, we celebrate the 249th. We leave you with this year's Patriots Day highlights, our favorite day here in Lexington. I'm Rick Dorrington. Thank you for tuning in.
Surround these men and disarm them. You are not to fire, do you understand?